I would say that my all-time favorite TV series is Suits. For those of you that are unfamiliar with the show, Suits is a lawyer drama. In the beginning seasons, there's a lot more courtroom drama, but as the seasons progressed, it was more so a drama that took place at a lawyer firm. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, one of the things that I really enjoyed was one of the tools that the lawyers used, the Jessica Pearsons, the Harvey Specters, when they were cross-examining witnesses on the stand in front of the judge. So when you work with your lawyers, you get your story together, you make sure that you divulge certain information. There's some stuff that you hold close to the chest, right? But what they would do was that they would anger the person. Was it badgering the witness if it went too far? But like they would pick and prod and poke. They would get more energetic with their questionings. They would get quicker. They would give them less time to think. And all these things are factors to make you angry. So when the person on the stand gets angry, they'll have an emotional outburst where usually they'll release the truth. And that's why I killed him. He deserved to die. Wait, see, when anger controls your thought process, it shows you who you truly are. Once you can get past the person's mask, once you get past the lies that they've been telling you, once you get past the coordinated messages that these businesses and these politicians be saying out here, and you just get them in like when they're the most vulnerable, that's where you get to the truth. So to get to the truth, sometimes you have to anger your students, right? For example, I don't consider myself, and I still don't consider myself a spiritual teacher. I consider myself a spiritual teacher's assistant, like in college. I've had this class before. I was pretty good at it. Let me give you some pointers so you can pass this test in life. You see what I'm saying? That's my angle. But however, though, we still are each other's students and each other's teachers. So especially when you're around young people, for example, or you can actually have an intelligent conversation with diverse opinions, whether it's religion or politics, dieting, video games, cars, sports, whatever. When you can actually engage in that, sometimes utilizing anger, manipulating somebody's emotion is the best way to expose the truth. It's like, why do you believe in that? Well, yeah, okay, you gave me all these cookie cutter answers, but no, without all of that, without explaining those things that you've been hearing since you were 3.5 years old, explain to me why this with your own words. I've never thought about it. Just stop. You asked me too many questions. I don't want to talk about it. And that's usually what people do. I don't want to talk about this. You're not worth my time. Anything to get out of that conversation because they themselves know that they don't have the information needed to articulate their position on a specific point. You see what I'm saying? It's like, so to anger them, you get people talking. They want to get at you. They're trying to cover everything up. But even with questions, you still learn things. This is a little much, but like when I was dating back in the days, I learned more from the women's questions. You know what I'm saying? The questions that they ask shows what is important to them. So it's just like, okay, based off of the question you asked me, you care about X, Y, Z, and the third. So even when you're having a debate with somebody, it's that when they're asking you certain questions, that gives you information. Either they're really close to breaking, keep on prodding so they explode, or they're asking their questions in a specific type of way. Hold on, let me sidestep that so I'm not the one that gets angry. You see, learning how to utilize anger in a conversation, I might make a whole separate video about this after. I might record that right now. But nevertheless, let me finish my thought. It's like sometimes you have to use that anger because anger exposes the truth. A lot of the times we get emotionally perturbed, bothered by, things on the internet, whether it's a political affiliation, religious, somebody like thinks that the carnivore diet is better than the vegan diet, whatever. A Ferrari is better than the Lamborghini. I don't know. Everybody gets pissed off about things. But at the end of the day, a lot of people want to protect their ignorance. A lot of people never want to admit that they don't know something. Or especially, they don't want to admit that they were wrong. So when you're getting close to that threshold where one of those two parameters is starting to get encroached upon, that's when people start to lash out. You're getting too close to the truth. I'm going to back away. You're getting too close to the truth. I'm going to make myself big like you're a bear coming at me because they see you as a threat. You see? So learn how to control anger in heated conversations. Sometimes you have to use it to your advantage. Sometimes you have to know when someone's trying to get that same advantage on you. I could have gone a million different ways, but I'm going to keep this one short. Till the next one. Peace.